What if I were to tell you that the Biden administration has no idea how modern monetary policy works? And it's a fact. We've got a couple stories for you. The first, of course, is a reporter stunned by a Biden voter's comments on the economy. Nostalgia for Trump years. Really shocking to me. Nonstop, I heard about the economy, NPR reporter says about her time on the campaign trail talking to voters. It's true. President Biden is facing his uphill battle to convince voters this November that the election is a referendum on Trump because even Democratic voters have nostalgia for the Trump years. Yeah. I want to show you this clip that's gone viral. We have this repost from Arnaud Bertrand. This is absolutely priceless and probably the most frightening clip you'll ever watch on the people in charge of the U.S. economy. Jared Bernstein is literally the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, the main agency advising Biden on economic policy. And when you hear what he has to say about the economy, you're probably going to laugh and cry a little bit.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah. So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
I don't think there's anything confusing there. Good sir, you're about as confused as you can be. And you know what's funny? A lot of people are very confused. Why is it that we borrow our own money? Let me tell you about the national debt. First, I'm not an economist. I can't tell you much more than this guy could, to be completely honest. But fortunately for you, I'm not the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors serving President Joe Biden. That's not my job. No, I'm a guy who complains on the internet. And that is a limited function as well. I don't often have good solutions for you. I can tell you one simple one. It's eat healthy, exercise, and tell your friends to vote. Get involved in culture and community and share ideas with your neighbors. Phase one. As to the problems of the economy, I sit here wondering why this man, the alleged expert, can't tell me why the U.S. government borrows its own money. Well, I can tell you a little bit. First, when people talk about the national debt, what they don't understand is that for the most part, we don't owe money to anyone else. We owe money to Americans. The debt has a lot to do with, say, the government will create a budget. And printing money, oh man, I'll try and break down as much as I can, and I'm probably wrong a lot of it, but my understanding. So Congress says we're going to raise the debt ceiling. This just means that the U.S. government can take out loans, which is debt created, money created upon the issuance of debt. This is how we create money in this country. So when they say that money is printed, let me slow you down real quick. It's not really printed. Only a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of money is actual physical bills. Most money is, as fractional reserve banking works, you go to the bank, you say, I need a loan for a house. The bank can then manifest that money for the house. It's how they expand the money market. That's the point. And then the purpose of the interest is basically to control for inflation. So I could be wrong about this. I've read only a little bit on modern monetary theory. But the question of why do we borrow our own money? Because Congress, when they create a budget for something, let's say they're like $100 million will be given to this company or something. Let's say it's like $100 million in aid for Palestinian refugees. Well, what happens then is they spend the money giving it to various companies that will then engage in that practice, right? So the money is creating a debt. We now owe, that money has to be paid back. It's to control for inflation. So Congress is borrowing money. The idea being that when we levy taxes, we use it to pay down the loans that we took. It's actually kind of simple when you think about it. If they just print the money, inflation just goes through the roof. What is the purpose of taxes? To effectively control for that system, to pull money out of the market to control for inflation, which is why Joe Biden wants to create the biggest tax increases we've ever seen. We used to have a thing called fractional reserve. I think they did restore the fractional reserve system. And the way it worked was, I think it was 9-1. And it was like a bank has, it's basically like if they have $100 saved in the bank, like let's say you give a bank $100, that bank can create $90 in debt to be issued out. And then someone pays back the 90 plus interest, and now they have 200. The problem with that is that bank has $100. They create upon the issuance of debt $90 in debt value. So someone, let's make it simple, $1 million. Bank is $1 million. They can now create a $900,000 debt while still holding the $1 million. So they create the $900,000 debt. Someone uses that to buy a house. The person who sold the house clears $800,000 from that transaction. So they have the cash now. There is now $1.9 million floating in the market. The guy who sells the house goes to the same bank and says, here's $800,000 into my account. I just sold a house. Now they have 1.8 million and they can issue a 90% debt creation upon that. Sounds weird, doesn't it? That's basically how the money system works. The purpose of taxes is to pull money out of the system because the U.S. government just manifests it whenever they want. That is, Congress raises the debt ceiling, creates more money to be lent out to Americans. So when we say there's a national debt and we owe X amount of dollars, it's mostly to Americans. Invoices, bills, contracts, loans, etc. It's effectively to manage that system. I could be wrong about a lot of this because I only have a cursory understanding of the purpose of how these things work. But I do think it's surprising this guy couldn't even get anywhere near what I'm saying. Because I'll tell you this, and I'll stress this again. This guy, Jared Bernstein, should be saying, well, let's say I was the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors. First thing I would do is I'd read a book on it and try and know as much as I could, instead of being someone on the internet who's read a few news articles, watched some documentaries, and read about the basic functions from some websites. And I'd say exactly what I just told you. The general idea is to control for spending and inflation. Most importantly, Congress will, with raising the debt ceiling, the money they produce is a debt that will be owed to the people who are doing these jobs. That money will have to come from the U.S. budget to be paid back to the people that we're basically saying we can borrow money from. To put it simply, there's one way to think about it outside of monetary policy and monetary theory, because I'm sure it gets more complicated than this. But let's say we here at Timcast need someone to clean the floors, and we don't have any cash. So I, being the sole, let's say the, what's a good word for it? The chancellor of Timcast with sole authority, I decide we can tolerate an increase of $100,000 in our debt spending. What does that mean? I have no money. Bank accounts are at zero, but I need a janitor. So I call the cleaning service and I say, I have now been cleared to spend $100,000. The company comes in, cleans everything. They say, industrial corporate cleaning, $10,000. Nowhere near my $100,000 cap. Hold on, there's a problem. I actually don't have any money. How did I just spend money I didn't have? I told them I had the money. They did the work. And now I'm sitting here crossing my fingers that I'm going to receive income. So then the company generates some revenue, money comes in, and that was me issuing a debt, basically spending money. Then when the company says, you now owe me X for the cleaning, we have that national debt added to our rankings, right? So the company has accrued liabilities for the service, and we're hoping that money will come in. And then what a lot of businesses do is they'll float the debt. So I make, $5,000 and I say, okay, here's $1,000 towards the 10 I owe you. We'll pay you another installment next month. And then I give $1,000 to a bunch of different vendors. Everybody is satisfied. And as long as the money keeps coming in, I can keep paying them. And so then what happens is I'm paying these people, not generating enough money, and I need a new service, a new camera. So I decide we're going to spend against the debt limit we created. Eventually, we hit the debt ceiling, and I'm like, we cannot accrue more debt because we're not bringing enough money in. So everybody here at the company, just me, we vote, we're going to increase the debt again to $200,000 because we need the money. We're not making it, but we need it. Then I hire another company. Now I need more money. So what do? I go to wherever my money sources are and I say, it's going to cost you more. We tell all the members we're increasing the prices. Sorry, we have to do it to make this machine work. That's basically how the government does this. Money is created upon the issuance of debt. That's how it works. So in the sense of a legitimate system without modern monetary theory, it could function the way I described. But often what we see in the US is much different in that they actually just create the money. And so when you use a credit card and you swipe, money is created. It's not coming from an account. It's created. And then you pay it back. This is the funny thing. So you paid down that credit card with that $50. There's now $100 floating. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really understand all that much. And I think it's probably pointless for me to even try to explain it. I can give you a rudimentary understanding of debt spending, but that doesn't even explain a lot of what's going on with taxes and all that. What I can tell you is the Biden administration doesn't know how the economy works. So if you're worried about how you're going to afford gas or anything else, good luck. That's what you get when you vote for Joe Biden. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all then.